I never thought that I'm gonna go back to writing. And then I found out about Medium and I started to write again. Here's my reflection after writing 100 stories on Medium. This is a journey of transformation because writing more than 100 stories on Medium literally changed my life. Let's go back to October 2023. This is when I found out about Medium. Well, not literally found out because I knew about Medium before. It's just that YouTube algorithm led me to learn that I could earn money by writing about topics that matter to me on Medium. So in November, I joined Medium, but I did not write right away. I just started reading stories. I've already been familiar with Medium for a long time, and I've noticed how this platform is really great because whenever I search for something, a topic on Google search, Medium always comes up. This means Medium is really an authority on Google search engine. So in this same month, in November, I posted a new profile picture on my Facebook account. I've decided to include a 3-minute read caption that includes my story about being near a Christmas tree. And then people read it, and my roommate said, "You're a writer." So I thought, maybe I could really go back to writing again, but I did not write right away. December 2023 came. That's about 2 months after initially learning that the church I belong to, my whole life, was not really what it claimed to be. So I wrote about it. I wrote how I felt about it on Medium, and that made me produce 2 stories on this topic in December. So one story was just about a 9-minute read, and the other story is about a 19-minute read because it's a full reflection of the book I read about everything I knew before about my church and its history. So yeah, I finally started writing again, and that started my writing journey and my transformation. In January 2024, I was really proud of myself because I get to write 10 stories already. That's a really great achievement for me. By this time, I wrote about stories on religion, my subconscious mind, a YouTube video I watch, which is timely for the New Year's resolution, meditation, and then productivity. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed writing. In February, I have this journal that I carried with me when I came here, when I immigrated here. This is the journal. By this month, I started to consult my old journal, to write stories. So I wrote about my mental health, my healing journey, my experience with depression, trauma, neuroplasticity, which is one of my favorite topics. And writing about neuroplasticity, connecting that into the topic of writing, got me my highest earning. And addiction. This is the month where I got my highest earning on Medium. In March 2024, I learned about pinning stories on Medium. So it's a learning curve. You don't get to learn everything at once. So as you use the app, you get to learn everything one by one. There's this one Medium writer that I follow who has a story on her profile pinned on top that says something about how to navigate her profile. So I did the same thing. Why shouldn't I, right? When a person goes to your profile on Medium, the first thing that they'll see is that pinned post. So when they check it out and it says navigating WAM's profile, so they will definitely check it out. Once they check it out, and they'll see from that post the topics that I'm writing and how they're going to navigate it. It's a great tip. So I also did the same thing. This is for the readers, for the ones who would like to read more about my stories. In April, I wrote more about religion. This is because this topic is really close to my heart being a gospel teacher for a long time. And this time I also thought about using another platform, a social media platform, to create some content. So I created this TikTok account so that I could post some snippets of the quotes that I loved from the books I read. So I post about the books I read on TikTok. And I still do now from time to time. In May, I continued to write. I wrote about mental health, religion, and productivity, which are just mostly the topics that I'm concentrating on, because those are the topics that I could relate to or I know something about. And it also shows in my writing that I'm on this journey on learning about other perspectives on God and religion. In June, I left the church for good, and it was liberating. Honestly, I learned about quitmormon.com in October and started to create a resignation from my church. But I stopped. I decided to read more books about it, to search more about history. Because who knows, the one that I read might not be the whole truth. But as I read further and I search further, not just within my church history, but the whole religion's history, it led me to finally submitting my resignation. And by June, it's done. At this point in June, I've already read books about the Essenes, Judaism, Druidry. I also finished reading the Essene Gospel of Peace, books 1 and 2, and read books about Kabbalah, the Nag Hammadi scriptures, Tao Te Ching, and even the Egyptian Book of the Dead. With Tao Te Ching, however, I loved it. I read it since I was in college and learned about it in high school, I think, but mostly got to read it in college. The one thing that I like about it is I resonate with most of the teachings because it's somehow I could connect it to the principles that we teach in the church, my former church. So that's not really new to me. In July, I received an email from quitmormon.com that my resignation is finally finalized, and I got the certificate. At this time, I started reading the TANAKH, the Old Testament in Hebrew. But since I could only read it and don't really understand it, I still needed Bible Hub for the side-by-side translation in English. In August, summer 2024, I had a haircut. I got my hair short, I got some fades. This is longer now, but I'm planning to have another fade soon. And writing a story about that journey, about my hair, it dethroned my story about neuroplasticity. It became the story that got me the highest earnings as a medium partner. At this time, my friends are also telling me to publish a book already, Wam, but I felt that I still needed skills to write fiction. This is because everything that I wrote on Medium is real. It's nonfiction. It all comes from here, from my heart. This wanting to learn how to write fiction led me to the complete novel toolkit from the Tome App. I knew I still needed help because what I wrote on Medium is based on personal experiences. And I needed to learn more about crafting a fictional story. In September 2024, I kind of felt bad because my goal was to write 100 stories on Medium by September, because September 2022 was the time that I moved here to the US as an immigrant. So I just thought that it made sense if I made that as my deadline to write 100 stories on Medium. But I failed. I did not reach that, no matter how hard I tried. To compensate with that, I've decided to look into other platforms other than TikTok. So I launched neighborwamrellora on Instagram and started posting my ideas in image form after posting them on X. At this time, I also wrote a story about it on Medium. about growing your Instagram account. I also wrote about a 5-minute read post on Medium about tips on writing. I ended up pinning that on my profile. So you can also see that after navigating Wam's profile if you check my Medium profile. October. That's a year already since I learned about I could earn by writing stories on Medium. By this time, I signed up for a 12-day Copywork Masterclass that helped me get more ideas for writing. At this time, I also created the Your Shorts publication on Medium so that I could start writing short form content as I apply what I learned from the Copywork Masterclass course. The course was really awesome. After learning about the art of painting a picture through words, I wrote just a short story on Medium, just a 2-minute read, and posted on the Your Shorts publication. And then I learned about the other essential writing skills and wrote 2 more 1 to 2 minute read stories for this publication. And by the end of the month of October, I finally reached my 100th story. Before I tell you about my reflection on writing 100 stories on Medium from December 2023 up to right now, which is December already, December the 11th, let me tell you about my backstory. Back in the day, Google's search engine sucked. People can easily manipulate the search engine back in the day. This was about 2011, below. Around that year, there's this thing called LinkBuilding. The goal has always been to reach the first page on search engines. So when someone uses a keyword to search on the search engine, the businesses who has the most of those keywords in their websites gets to be on the first page of the search engine. So businesses build their websites by creating blogs or contents with lots of keywords. Most of the time, when you read it, it doesn't make sense. That's the early days of SEO, or search engine optimization, and that is how I started writing online. I was hired by a startup company that helped clients build their websites on search engines through link building. All it took was to write 150 to 300 word articles with 3 to 5 keywords. We had to use exact words for the keywords, and we had to write 50 to 75 of those articles in a day. The topics were so diverse. I wrote about stair lifts, construction equipments, lawn mowers, furnitures, and I think I wrote about almost anything you see inside or outside your house. Back then, it was so easy for me to get burned out. So I quit after a couple of months and decided to get my own clients on oDesk. Now it's Upwork. I started to write for travel blogs and health blogs as a content writer and article spinner. Eventually, I hired other writers as well. But that didn't last long. I was in my early 20s and had just a lot on my plate. I thought managing other writers wasn't worth it because it was more work for me and I wasn't really earning much. When I got hired as a virtual assistant, I learned other skills. Some of these are WordPress content management, HTML, and a bit of web design, social media management, ad management, post designing, Photoshop, Canva. In short, I eventually just focused on marketing. So I thought I left the world of online writing for good. Who would have thought that I'd return to this world after more than a decade because of a YouTube algorithm? Here are the 3 reasons that I'm grateful for taking this 100-story Medium writing journey. Number 1, not only did I learn a lot about writing by writing about topics I care about, I also earned from it. Number 2, through writing about topics I cared about, I learned more about myself and understood myself better. This journey liberated me from what had been depriving me of more wisdom all these years. And number 3, other than that, I also learned about different opportunities for writers to earn more online. I thank the YouTube algorithm for bringing me to Medium bringing me back to writing. And I also thank Medium for bringing me here on YouTube, creating this channel to teach what I know. Next week, I will post 2 videos for you. One is about this Medium writing tips. That's also pinned on my profile. And the other one is that one story that I wrote a year ago as a reaction to the first book that I read about my church's history, which was the very first step that led me to totally living my religion for good. It's this. So, I'll see you next week. This is your neighbor Wam.